I feel like we've been doing this forever. I'm so tired of this. No, I'm just kidding.
100's
It's
a
still
lot.
fun. Are you still having
Yeah,
fun?
I'm having a better time than I ever have. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
Hopefully it'll just keep getting better and better and better until our heads explode.
It's too late. It's already happened.
Okay, so I want to. Our whole intro is going to be about contests today. Primarily because when we announced the winner of the zombie contest a few episodes ago, zombie sound contest, I forgot to mention that Danny Miller donated the prize, which were 3 awesome posters of Zombie Shane, Zombie Sophia, and Bicycle Girl. I didn't even mention that.
Wow, I forgot
So
that too.
yeah, so that's what the winner won, and they were really cool. And you can see those at 20eyesco.com. That's 20eyes, EYESCO.com. And they have posters and t-shirts and all kinds of cool art and stuff like that. And the posters are all signed, so if you want a copy, you can get one.
And I hope that the winner doesn't mind that his posters got lost in the mail and somehow showed
No,
up
he
on
he
eBay
he got him. He got him somehow.
because they're worth a lot, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I don't know. They cost $45 each, so I'm sure you
I
could.
think.
They're limited edition
Hmm.
signs, so you could. Yeah, I wouldn't go selling them on eBay. Don't give people ideas. And then, secondly, I was contacted since last episode by the guy who runs at Walking Dead News on Twitter, and he wanted to do a little partnership where they have weekly giveaways, and we announced the winner of their giveaway, so people have to download our podcast to hear it. So I thought, sure, well, let's try it out. And by the way, that's at Walking D3AD News. Like dead, but D3AD on Twitter. And they're giving away this week your choice of any of the 6-issue Walking Dead volumes that are out. I think there's 17 of them. And what they had to do to win is guess the number of zombie kills in the episode, this week's episode before it happened. So this week's winner who correctly guessed 6 zombie kills is at Same Ol' Eddie.
Oh,
So
interesting.
so this guy won. So Eddie, Same Ol' Eddie, you need to tweet to Walking Dead News to claim your prize. And thanks a lot for involving us in that.
So he gets 6 exactly.
Well, the trades are collected editions that have 6 issues of the comic in them each. So he'll get one of those trades that includes 6 issues of the comic. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's great. And you can pick whichever one he wants.
Were you the one who counted the zombie kills?
Nope.
That's nice.
The guy from Walking Dead News did.
Well, it's not like you have to count that high.
Yeah, there were a few. I mean, I'd say that's average for for Walking Dead.
Yeah, some episodes are a lot.
Yeah, maybe even slightly above average. Because
That is true.
they got a budget over there at AMC. Okay, so now that the contest is over, the zombie sound contest, I want to announce another contest. It is our Pen is Mightier Than the Sword contest. So some of you longtime listeners may remember a couple of years ago when our friend and listener Maddie, who works at LiveScribe, donated this smart pen. Well, they've been working on their new smart pens, and he donated 2 more. So one is like a regular edition, one is a pro. We're going to give the regular edition away now, and then the pro will be given away when we do our event in San Diego with Eric and James of the Walker Stalkers. So for now, the pro edition or the regular edition, we're going to win this, you submit your Michonne haiku.
Oh, fantastic.
And best Michonne haiku as voted on by you and me, Karen. Totally subjective wins.
Oh, I love me some haikus.
So-
Can we win? Can I enter?
No.
Damn.
You can enter, but you can't win. So this pen is, it records everything you write and hear, and then you tap on your notes later and it replays the audio from that moment in time, which is kind of cool. This new version, it's Wi-Fi enabled, so your notes are wirelessly sent and securely stored in Evernote, which is like a free application. and your audio is sent there too. And so then you can quickly search it and access it from anywhere. So it sounds pretty cool. So again, if you want to win this super cool piece of technology, by spring, I decided the first day of spring, which is coming up quick here, Wednesday, March 20th, email your Michonne haiku to brains@walkingdeadcast.com. And what else was I going to say about that? Yeah, that's it. Oh, and and then the other thing that you have to do to win, I forgot this part, is sign up for our email list. So there's 2 steps. Go to walkingdeadcast.com and sign up where it says join us or die. So no pressure there. And then send your Michonne haiku to brains@walkingdeadcast.com. If you already signed up with us, just send your haiku. And that's the first time I'm focusing on signing up for our email list. By the way, we don't send out that many emails so far in our about 3 years of podcasting. We've sent 0, so that's 0 per year. So we might kick it up to like
low
1
risk.
a year, maybe 2 a year. That's all. Maybe one a month.
Nice.
Okay,
Like,
that's all the contest stuff for today.
that's enough stuff, man.
All right, let's move along.
Attention shoppers, Deadcast Top 5 in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Okay, it's Deadcast Top 5. This week it's Top 5 highlights for Season 3, Episode 13, Arrow on the Doorpost, which I have no idea why it's called that. But before we get started, and Karen tells us why it's called that, I want to introduce a friend of ours, Lisa. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
You might have, if you were paying real careful attention, you probably heard me mention Lisa a couple times because sometimes I go over there and watch Walking Dead at her place since I don't have cable, and it's fun to watch it with friends. And we had that one party where we got drunk and ate brains.
Yeah.
We were all a little loopy at that
Yeah.
That was a zombie brain jello shots.
Yeah.
one. Jello mold, actually. We still have that too.
Go back to, I think it's episode 37, Surfically Pober, if you want to hear that. Highly recommended.
Or not.
Or
You can
not.
just skip that.
Yeah. I might take it down. So, Karen, why is it called that?
Well, I don't know why it's called that, but I do know a couple references because I was curious about that too. And I looked, did a little search on the internet and found a Bob Dylan song by, I'm sorry, they found a Bob Dylan song and it's called Blind Willie McTell. And it has it in the lyrics. Seen the arrow on the doorpost saying this land is condemned all the way from New Orleans to Jerusalem.
Oh, that makes sense because they're all talking about like territory, I guess.
Mm-hmm. And the land is condemned. And also, it's not the first time they would reference a Bob Dylan song or have a Bob
That's
Dylan
right.
song in
At the
the
end
show.
of season 1 finale, they had.
Right, when they were leaving the CDC.
Remember that?
When it was
I forget what
exploding.
it was called. So, what do you think of this episode, Lisa?
I liked it.
You
I
did?
thought the pace was very different. In general, it just felt like a very different episode than a lot of the episodes in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked how they set up a lot of the conversations that were going on between the two characters. And that's one of my top 5 things. But
Okay. In general, you liked it.
yeah, I did.
What would you give it out of 5?
Oh, I would go 4.
That's high praise.
Yeah.
What do you think, Karen?
I gave it a 4.327.
You really liked it.
I did. A 4.327? Yeah, that's pretty good.
I thought it was good, but I thought it was really good actually. Good song, and it had some moments where I was like, "Oh yeah, that was so funny," or had a lot of tension. Very good, but it felt like they stretched out the meeting between the governor and Rick over a whole episode. That felt a little like tap dancing or something, like. Maybe it should have been just half of an episode. I don't know, and I'm kind of on the fence about that, but it reminded me of when I was a teenager and I used to watch soap operas, and every episode had like 3 or 4 groups of 2 people, and each of those groups would have a conversation that lasted the whole episode.
They'd make it stretch out.
Because they had to do,
that was the
5
pattern.
hours a week and they had no money to work with.
Really? I didn't feel that way.
You didn't at all. I mean, it was
I
good.
loved it.
Yeah. Well, just a couple, like, especially when the governor brought out his whiskey. I brought whiskey. I'm like, come on.
Let's make this a drinking game.
Well, it did. It kind of turned into this like awkward drinking game with your crazy uncle that you couldn't get away from. It's like, I'm not allowed to leave this conversation. This sucks.
Every time someone has a missing limb or body part, drink. Okay, so I gave it 3.5 gaffs, which is not bad. Let's go ahead and do our top 5. Why don't you start?
Okay. We're supposed to go 5 to
4,
1,
3,
right?
2, 1, yeah.
Okay. I actually had a hard time coming up with 5. So this one is just kind of when I came up with that. It just, near the end of the episode, just the theme crisis of conscience popped in my head. And it was specifically having to do with both Milton and Rick. Mm-hmm. Like Milton's having this moment when they're back in Woodbury and he's talking to the governor and he's just like, wait, we're going to attack anyway. Mm-hmm. It's like that final conversation. And Milton's just kind of giving him this look of, well, even if you get what you want, you're still going to attack him. And then like Rick has the same similar moment where he's trying to have, when he's talking to Herschel about Michonne, and he basically tells Herschel's like, I need you to talk me out of this right now. It's like, they know it's wrong, but they don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I didn't think about that. And it seems like this is a pattern this season, Karen. Like every episode has a parallel between the governor and Rick, and you and I often miss it and somebody else brings it up. But yeah, I think that's great. Totally. What that also reminds me of is it's starting to seem a little ridiculous that Milton is surprised by any of this.
I think it's convenient. He's ignoring it.
Yeah.
And it's just becoming more challenging to ignore it completely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they didn't include him on some of their worse excursions, like when they killed all the military guys, they ambushed them. I don't think Milton was there.
He wasn't.
So they have kept him kind of in the lab. Maybe they just sort of kind of kept him in the lab.
How about when he told Andrea, or told him not to tell Andrea that he was going to attack the prison?
Yeah, okay.
There's a couple things, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, Karen, you want to go next?
Okay, so I'm going to start with my zombie kill of the week. And I thought in honor of baseball season starting up, and, you know, I'm going to spring training in another week or so. And I thought, you know, baseball, who doesn't love America's sport? Well, I'll tell you who loves America's sport. That would be Martinez. It would be his killing the zombie with the baseball bat to the head against the wall and it going boom. It exploded nicely, just sort of like a water balloon. It was delightful. And that was my zombie kill of the week. But the runner-up is Daryl's knife throw to the zombie head.
I totally agree. In fact, when he pulled out that baseball bat, I was like, oh, what's this going to look like? And it was probably about as satisfying as it could have been.
Exactly. And
I thought it was more like a watermelon.
Oh, yeah. Like, who's that? Who's the comedian with the watermelon?
Oh, yeah.
Gallagher.
Gallagher would be awesome in the zombie apocalypse.
I love that man. He would totally survive the apocalypse.
He should get some zombie heads.
He would be a great guest star. Kind of like the Zombieland cameo.
Right.
See him running around in a field of zombies. Okay. Can I go now?
Yes.
My number 5, I kind of touched on it already, but just extending the negotiation talks through for the whole episode. Just halfway through, I started to feel like, okay, I'm ready for something else to happen here. And it made me kind of wonder, you know, we've heard through some of these machinations about Mazzara being leaving the show that people were saying AMC felt like they didn't have enough story for the back half of this season. And I bet you this episode was part of that. Although I do have to say, I agree. I was pretty entertained the whole way through. So it's not a huge complaint, but it just felt like I would have been happier if it would have ended halfway and then the second half would have had more story to it. So
well, I was wondering if it was strange to anybody else that they went from the scene where they go back to Rick's hometown to all of a sudden he's in a room with the governor. Like, I didn't feel like there was any like plot transition. Mm-hmm. It's like they just skipped a couple days and all of a sudden they're in a room together. It's like, wait, did that actually just happen? Was there any lead up to that whatsoever?
Yeah. You know, I kind of liked that. It was like in medias res kind of thing. And I liked it especially because we're like, wait, were we supposed to know how this got set up, or we don't know? But then later on, the governor Rick looked at Andrea after the governor said that he was just there to get Rick's surrender. Rick looked at Andrea and said, "You said that he was here to negotiate." So we knew just from that Andrea probably set it up. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. We didn't necessarily need to see that. I mean, we could have, and it would have been good, but
It could have been the first 5 minutes of the episode where a carrier pigeon shows up with a little letter from Andrea saying, "Hey, the governor wants to meet with you."
Peace.
Or a crow like in Game of Thrones.
There you go.
Okay, Lisa, number 4.
All right, my number 4. This is actually kind of as a dedication to Karen. It was the sex scene.
Aww,
And how they are the worst lookouts in the history of the planet.
God.
Wait, why is that? Because
Well, so
Karen and sex go together?
I thought it was funny. It's like, I'm really glad that they reconciled, like Maggie and Glenn.
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad they're happy again because that was getting a little old. But she's there. She's relieving him of his watching duty, and then they decide to like go and lock themselves in a garage door behind a garage
And
door and have
abandon the
sex.
watching duty.
Yeah. So I'm like, you guys are the worst lookouts ever. Like someone could totally roll up and just shoot the whole place to crap right now. Can I cuss?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I almost said something. I wasn't sure if I could say that, so I did.
Man,
All right.
Karen, it's Lisa's turn.
Sorry. Look at me talking over her electronically.
That was pretty much it. Just
Yeah.
awesome sex scene, but terrible lookouts.
And I was so worried. I was like, oh my God, don't be happy. Stop it. Stop it.
Oh,
Don't be
yeah.
happy.
You're going to die.
Every time they're happy. Don't do it, man. Something bad happens. But luckily, nothing bad happened. I mean,
Not
maybe
yet.
it's right. Exactly.
I like the sex scene. I was jealous, for one thing, of Stephen Yeun. It's like, bastard.
Don't tell Jenny.
Totally reminded me of the comic. She knows. She's okay. She knows I'm human. It totally reminded me of the comic because they get busy in the prison a lot in the comic. The scene was like kind of cut. It like had quick cuts. It reminded me of like a Batman fight scene in The Dark Knight where you can't quite see what's happening, but you know it's exciting. But then when they got totally naked and they really started going for it, I started feeling uncomfortable. And I thought about it after, and I think it's because I know them, so I feel like I know them, like they're two friends of mine now. And it'd be like if I was in a room and two friends of mine just stripped down and started going at it, I'd be like, "Can
Walking on your roommate.
Go into another room." Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you guys are over that tension you had, but
It's nice, but
I don't need
get a
to
room.
see that. But I'm glad too. I mean, it was good to have the tension between them for dramatic tension, and then it made sense and everything. But I'm glad they resolved it because this show is so tense, and it's nice to have a little.
Well, like there's certain things that you're supposed to be able to
happiness
rely on this
sometimes.
show, and I think from a character level, the commitment between Maggie and Glenn is one of those things that's just always going to be there. And,
Yeah,
like
you
there's
need
nothing that's going to
something.
come between them, and so I think it's a very reliable hold on for the show and for the viewers, and so to have them mad at each other for too long would just really.
Yeah, they've got to be together. Daryl has to be a badass. There's just a few things like that.
Right.
Like Rick can go insane, and that's okay. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, where are we here?
For
My
Karen?
turn, I think. The end with the music back at Woodbury. So they have the nice music playing. They're back at Woodbury. You can see both camps getting back. Rick's camp is getting back to the prison. The governor, Milton, they're getting back to Woodbury, and Andrea too. And I just like the moment with the governor and Milton. And Milton kind of calling the governor on, what's your plan? And the governor is like, hey, they're never going to see it coming. And it's sort of the best way to avoid a slaughter. And Milton saying, that is a slaughter. And governor saying, well, it depends on what side you're on. We'll have to eliminate Rick sooner or later. And I just like that Milton, you could tell he's getting agitated. He's not liking what he sees. And he's going to man up and turn against the governor. Yay.
You think so?
I do.
And he's going to die in the process. That's what I think.
Maybe. I hope not. I like Milton now.
Yeah, I do too. I wish Milton is creepy. That's for sure. He's always been creepy. When we first met him, I thought he was creepy in a way that was potentially disrespectful of people, where his science mattered more than people's comfort. Now I just see that he's just not socially very good socially, but he's a good-hearted guy. And I thought he was way more interesting when I thought he was actually a creep. So I like his character. I like him as a person, but I wish he'd been a creepy creep.
He's evolved quite a bit over the course of the season too, because like I agree with what you were saying about in the beginning of the season, it was just like the man in his science, and he was so focused on just this one project he was researching, like the old man dying and seeing what would happen. And it just seemed like now that that's failed and he almost got himself killed because of it, he's just kind of had this awakening experience where it's just like, okay, not everything is simple. That's not obviously how things are. So I need to figure this out and like kind of redefine who he is.
Yeah.
And kind of just start looking around at at least things that are going on around him when he wasn't doing that before because he didn't need to.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. My turn. My number 4 is just the meeting between the governor and Rick in general. I thought it was very cool to see them sit down together and they played off of each other really well. And it was fun to watch. A few just kind of random points about the meeting. When the governor stepped out of the darkness, my thought was, okay, shoot him. Shoot him right now. Exactly. Or take him prisoner. Like, why not do that? I don't get it. I like, I already mentioned this, but I actually liked how we're not sure at first how the meeting got set up. It's like made it kind of mysterious, and then they kind of clued us in later. So that was good. I liked that the governor and Rick had been talking to their people about each other, and it came out during this meeting. Like Rick knows that about the aquarium heads, and he knows about what the governor did to Maggie, and the governor knows about about Lori and
Shane.
About Lori and Shane.
Right.
That's, I guess, Andrea and the governor had some pillow talk. And Rick knows that, he knows that, Lori died and that T-Dog died in the prison. So I thought that was interesting. I was trying to think what the governor wants, because he told Rick that he could have killed all of them when he attacked the prison. I think that must have been a lie, because based on what he told Milton, he would have already done that. He says, when they bring Michonne, just kill all of them and take Michonne alive. So, and it also seems like, though, that he could have had his people open fire on Daryl and Rick during this episode, during their meeting, but then he wouldn't have gotten Michonne. So I guess what he wants is to kill everyone except for Michonne. I think that's what he's after.
He's just going to kill slower.
Yes.
And torture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. So this was actually my number 2, that first confrontation between the two of them, and it was basically a pissing contest. I mean, I think that's why the governor agreed to go there. He didn't even give a crap about negotiations. He's like, I want to see who this guy is. I want to see who this other leader is. Who, like, it's that playing off of counterparts. Like, who is this other person who's basically in the same role as me, and just intimidating them
just for the sport of it, almost.
Yeah, I mean. It's funny you were saying, like, your first thought when they had that first scene where the governor walks in out of the darkness, and like, it kind of, my first thought was, because there wasn't any transition to this, any lead up in prior episodes, it made me think, well, is this a dream?
Yeah,
or is this
it
like
seemed kind of dreamy.
The Empire Strikes Back, Luke going into the cave and Darth Vader walking out kind of thing. Like, that actually occurred to me. I was like, oh, it's Darth Vader coming from the darkness.
And then the governor, he slices the governor's face off, and it's Carl's face underneath.
Right. Poor little Carl. And I did like how the dialogue kind of transitioned into this, like, it was just some really fun dialogue at that point.
Playground.
Yeah, because like the governor's doing his whole charming act, and then like you got the old West thing of the gun tied behind the table that never gets shown again, which kind of annoyed me. Like, he just left it there. And then
listeners were talking about that, saying, like Chekhov's rule that if you show a gun in the beginning, it has to fire at the end. And so that annoyed people. Maybe
when they go back, if they go back to do the not really transfer of Michonne, I don't think they're going to transfer her over.
No.
Maybe he'll pull it out then.
Maybe.
And I did like how Rick compared the governor to the town drunk who rips down your fence. I thought that was great.
Yeah. He said, "You're the town drunk who knocked over my fence and ripped up my yard. Nothing more."
Yeah.
Yeah, I
didn't really think it was accurate, but it still was a great line.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
When Rick sat down at the table with the governor, I don't know if you guys saw Inglourious Bastards, but I was like, no, don't sit down at the table with him. He's got a gun under there. He's gonna pull out a gun.
Yeah.
I actually thought back to Tombstone, where or not Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday always had the gun under the poker table when he was dealing.
Exactly. And apparently, that's a whole big Hollywood trope, in Rats. I can't remember what it is, but yeah, it's been used in lots and lots of movies. And I was like, don't sit at that table. God.
Do you think if they weren't going to use the gun, they shouldn't have bothered showing it?
No, I'm glad they showed it.
Yeah, me too.
It made it for me more tense.
Yeah.
It also kind of makes me wonder now, just like on reflection, it makes me wonder if it shows a weakness of the governor. 'Cause like the idea of like, I'm coming to see my counterpart. I don't know what to expect. I'm going in to intimidate him, but what if he's scarier than I really think? I need a backup plan. So if Rick were to pull a gun on him, he's got his gun there waiting.
It's just smart to have that there. It would be dumb not to, I think. Okay, let's move on. We're on number 3, right? I think.
Is it my turn?
I think I just did my number 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Number 3. Just generally the dialogue of this episode. There was a lot of really good lines, and I just thought
It was a lot of digs.
Yeah, like sometimes I think the dialogue, it's like the overarching plot, the storyline, I generally have always been really excited about that. But sometimes the dialogue's not that great. But I thought the dialogue and like the snappy one-liners were really good this time. And like Herschel and Milton, for example, can I see your stump? It's like, what, are you even going to buy me a drink? Things
And
like
the way
that.
Milton said it did seem like he was on a date.
Right, exactly. He seemed a little too turned on by that
I
stump.
know. I just want to look.
I think somebody in your chat room pointed out earlier that they're called stumpies. I don't know if they were referring to my fetish comment earlier or not, but
That's
who knows?
a stump
funny.
fetishist. I have a little clip of some of that dialogue here. Here we go.
Andrea told me about your baby. That it might be your partner's. But you're caring for her, and I admire that. Restitution for your own lack of insight. For failing to see the devil beside you.
Oh, I see him all right.
Awesome.
That's all. Yeah, I just like how they're getting under each other's skin, And when he said that, it's like, oh God, that's gotta hurt.
I even like when he said, I brought whiskey.
That made it so much more fun because I'm like, Rick hasn't had a drink in ages.
That's true. He did drink it. He didn't turn it down.
The governor could totally drink him under the table if he wants to take him on that way.
Okay, Karen, your turn.
I like the male bonding over the Milton Herschel thing, of course, about the stumps and talking about, documenting history and documenting what's going on. And I like the male bonding over the zombie killing. I thought the Martinez, Daryl knife throwing, baseball bat hitting sequence was hilarious. And I thought it was really great when Andrea gave her little exasperated sigh at one point. She sees what's going on. She's like, oh, for God's sakes. And she sort of turns around and walks off. And then afterwards, when Daryl...
She didn't turn around and walk off. She was like, I'll kill the zombie.
She did.
If you
Kind of
guys-
walked in first. Was like, oh, fuck you guys.
She did it. And then she's like, oh, God.
Yeah.
And she offers, Daryl pulls out a cigarette from the zombie and offers it to Martinez, who then, that's another funny line. He said, I prefer menthols. And Daryl says under his breath, douchebag. It was hilarious. I really liked the whole dynamic. And I think maybe the governor was sort of silly to bring his guys there because it looks like they all had an interesting time talking to each other. And
Connected.
it's harder. It's harder to kill people that you've connected with.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I was talking about last week, how when viewers saw a softer side of Michonne, they didn't want her dead anymore. It's like now that these people from different camps meet, I guess they probably didn't necessarily want each other dead anyway, but they're just like more connected and less likely to want to kill each other when they give each other a chance a little bit and get to know each other a little bit. So, but
Yep.
when Martinez told Daryl to shut his mouth, because Daryl said, he called Milton the butler.
Yeah.
And then Martinez told him to shut his mouth. I almost felt like I was on Martinez's side there. I was like, yeah, don't make fun of Milton. What a
Yeah.
Don't pick on the little guy.
jerk. Yeah.
Wearing glasses. Come on.
Okay. My number 3 is kind of dialogue related, but it's more about like there were a lot of playground digs in this, like hitting someone at their sore spot. I just played the one that the governor did with Rick talking about what was it? I forgot already. Talking about
Lori?
Lori
And Shane?
Yeah, Lori and Shane, yeah. But then Daryl says about Milton what we just said. Great, he brought his butler. And then later the governor says, Rick is like, why do you want to do this, and do this all just so you can have Michonne and risk everybody's lives? Isn't that kind of petty or whatever? And the governor ignores him and just says, you could save your son, save your daughter. And that's sort of like totally getting under his skin, like, oh, you're threatening my son. Later, at another point, governor says, I thought you were a cop, not a lawyer. And Rick says, either way, I don't pretend to be a governor. So he's getting him on that one. And later he says, you could have a statue of yourself in the town square, governor. And then Merle gets some in, of course. He says to Glenn, nut up, boy. This guy cops a feel of your woman and you pussy out like this. Get out of my way. So that's hitting, Glenn where he lives, because he was particularly sensitive about what the governor did to Maggie. Michonne says to Merle, how do you explain letting me get away, when Merle was saying what a badass he was? And Merle says, I must have been seduced by your sterling personality. Which I thought,
smiled at that one, didn't she?
She did.
I thought that was awesome.
Kind of glowed at that. It's like that was what it took for her to make a connection with him.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool too.
You can keep up with my wit. I give you respect.
But that was the thing I was talking about, Karen, that I think maybe Michonne of a couple of weeks ago would have just bristled at that and maybe chopped off Merle's head, but she's like lightened up a little bit.
Might have to do with the fact that she's actually interacting with humans rather than her two pets.
Yeah. And then finally the governor said, I don't want your prison. That doesn't sound safe at all. I mean, you lost your wife, another man who's talking about.
Fucky, fuck. Man, that T-Dog, fuck.
And I thought that actually had a pretty good point about that. So, because it hasn't been that safe for them there.
But there was an inconsistency with that at one point? Because I remember at the beginning of the episode, he had that line of, I don't want your prison, I just want you gone. But then later in the episode, they talked about him keeping the prison and there are people staying there.
Yeah.
So I was a little confused by that, because he completely rejected the idea of drawing the line at the river.
Yes, and I reject that. And then later on, he's like, you can have everything you want as long as you give me Michonne. So the governor, I think, is full of shit, basically.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what tipped, one of the many things that tipped Rick off of, like, this guy's just full of it and he's not going to let us go.
Rick knows it.
When Rick said to everybody at the very end, the governor wants to kill us all and take this prison, I thought, okay, good. He knows the governor's full of shit and he knows what the governor really wants. Then he goes out and talks to Herschel and he makes it clear that he's pretty sure, but not totally 100% sure. And he's still considering giving up Michonne, but he's like, what if that would do the trick? So he's still considering that maybe the governor's being honest. But so he knows, he suspects the governor's not. And of course not. I mean, why the hell would the governor keep his word on that? No one should believe that.
He doesn't. He doesn't really believe it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Okay, let's move on. Where are we anyways?
2.
Number 2. Go ahead.
So we've actually already discussed my number 2. Mine was just that setup of the very first confrontation between Rick and the governor and like this, because I really did wonder at first if it was a dream sequence. So I was like, this is so strange. Where the heck is this coming from?
One thing I liked right before that is when they got there, it was quiet. It was that only one line was said in the cold open, and that was the governor saying, "We got a lot to talk about," or something like that.
Right. Well, they were casing the joint like they were like they would any other empty building.
But it reminded me back of the first episode of this season. Remember that when it was quiet and they were going into the houses looking for food, and they were giving each other hand signals and everything. It was good to see them doing that for consistency again.
But they also when Andrea showed up later, she's like, the governor's already here.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what the significance of that was.
I mean, my impression was that Rick and Daryl were there to they were there to get there before the governor did, and just the case out the
yes.
joint. But then the governor got there first anyway and was already waiting for them, and that was somewhat unexpected.
I mean, their watches
to
are
duct
probably
tape the
way out of sync at
Right.
this point.
when the sun is at the highest point in the sky.
Karen?
He had to duct tape the gun in place. So
did.
my number 2 was actually the exact same thing. Rick and the governor, the whole conversation really tense. I knew that they were both going to be fine. Nobody's killing anybody at this particular meeting, but my heart was still pounding anyway. And I think just like everybody else, David and I were on the couch shouting, "Shoot him! Shoot him!" to Rick. I mean, how can you not? He's
Yeah.
right
Yeah,
there.
come
You
on.
have a gun. Shoot the fucker. Yeah, you're all saying that. By the way, the one point I want to make that I don't think we've said yet is that how creepy was it that the governor saying that to Rick, "Oh, you got a lot of weapons the other day." So
Yeah.
he's been spying on them.
I guess so. We don't know how the hell he knew that. And some
Right.
some listeners are speculating that maybe Merle is a mole, but I don't think so.
How would he be getting information
All
back?
it takes is a pair of good. All you need to do is assign one of your minions to stand outside the gates of the prison with some binoculars, and you're fine.
Yep.
You know, climb a tree because I don't think zombies can climb trees.
Yeah, I think
And-
that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, and sit up there and have a pair of binoculars. Done.
My number 2 is, I already talked about it, just the whole Maggie and Glenn thing. So go ahead. Number
Sex. It's all about the sex. So my number 1 actually was kind of talked about already, but it was specifically the meeting of the counterparts.
1. Yes, that was my number 1 too.
And like the conversations that were going on between the counterparts. Like we already kind of touched on Milton and Herschel, and the dynamic with Milton and Herschel was Milton meeting what he could be. Like here's this very wise old man that seems to have so much better understanding of how the world operates, and he just seemed to really like kind of grab onto Herschel, like, wow, this is awesome. There's another smart person out there just like me.
And he connected to Milton by making a joke, and Milton at first wasn't gonna laugh, but then he did, and at that
can laugh at
moment
this.
they were just two buddies. Yeah.
Right. And then like with Martinez and Daryl, you have these like the machismo henchmen pairing on, like kind of like jousting back and forth with like first their banter and then their ability to kill zombies, and like Daryl.
It was a
kind of,
good progression.
Yeah.
Because when they first met and they were bristling and it looked like they were going to fight, I believed that. In fact, when we have Norman Reedus on, I want to ask him if he was actually pissed off at the guy because they did such a good job of making it look real.
Right. And like when they had to then finally leave and go and figure out what the threat was, you could see they both just like were able to refocus, do what they needed to do.
And they were admiring each other's prowess.
Right. And at the end, actually, my favorite thing about that was when they basically both acknowledged that no matter what happens that day, and when they go back to Woodbury in the prison, they're just going to end up having to shoot each other again later anyway. Like, their war is going to happen. They're going to have to fight.
that
It
was
doesn't
great.
matter.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, you're kind of a cool guy. You're just like me. We're
Yes.
both the henchmen.
And that was
who have
right
no choice
after
in this.
Martinez said that his wife and kid died.
Right.
And then Daryl said, that sucks. And Martinez said, thanks. And it's like, okay, we're friends now. And then Martinez like, no.
Doesn't even matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't think Daryl was thinking like, oh, now they're becoming friends. I think he probably was thinking the same thing. It's like, I'm still gonna have to
Yeah.
shoot you tomorrow
But
if it
it-
comes down to it.
But it was just, it was just like they had a connection there for sure. And then it was like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But I thought it was funny that they had cigarettes. And it's like, one of them should have said, was that good for you?
I totally would have taken that cigarette, and I quit a long time ago.
Yeah, after that.
There must be something deeply satisfying about a good zombie kill. Like sex.
And a cools. They should have cut back to Maggie and
Right.
Glenn having their own cigarettes.
My number 1 was the whole concept of betraying Michonne. I don't like it at all. I hope they're not actually seriously considering it, but it was one of the most, to me, one of the things that I sort of pondered and sort of burned, and I grinded on it pretty much all day. Like, oh, you can't do it. You can't betray Michonne. I don't think they will. It'd be unbelievably stupid. But just the fact that they're even talking about it, I just want to slap Rick and say,
But wait,
stop it.
when Rick said, talk me out of this, he was talking, I thought
He was
in the
talking
moment,
me out of turning her over. That's how I interpret it.
Oh, see, I thought he was saying, talk me out of going to war, because he had just told everyone else that they were going to war.
Talk me out of giving Michonne to him.
Oh, okay.
So because there's a chance that it might just work. No, there isn't, Rick. There isn't a chance because
okay, because then he said to Herschel, are you willing to sacrifice your daughters for her?
yeah, I don't even like that he's debating it.
Well, and
I really
Herschel had this look on his face of like, nope. But I don't know. I think they recognize the dilemma that they're in. I think that's that same crisis of conscience I talked about earlier. They know that this is a very difficult decision. And I think they both know that they're going to not turn her over. But at the same time, they really want to, if there's a slim hope that it'll actually make the governor go away and prevent a war.
It's stupid. It's ridiculous. They have two choices. They can either fight or run away. Turning Michonne over will only delay the inevitable.
Okay, well, why don't they run?
That's what I want to know, too. Why don't they just book the hell out of there?
I mean, I think they must think that the prison is worth holding on to because it's fortified. And you know, despite what's happened. Well, despite what's happened with
the wall falling down.
Lori and T-Dog died only because there was a bad guy messing everything up, the prisoner guy.
But the whole reason that Tyrese and those people were able to get in was just because there's a big hole in the back of the wall.
But
and now there's a van drove through the main fence, so it's not as fortified. It would be a lot of effort to get that place up to par again.
I don't know, like how much effort it took to build a wall around Woodbury. I think it would take a lot less effort to fix the prison.
They need to find like a really big high school or middle school or something and just lock themselves in there. Those places are awesome.
Some high schools I've seen look like prisons.
I'm still curious why they haven't got up to the roof yet. Kind of like in the...
They don't have enough money to film that.
Because like in the old Day of the Dead movie, they spent all that time up on the roof.
Yeah.
And even the two Dawn of the Dead movies, Dawn of the Dead.
They were on the roof in Atlanta when Merle got his hand chopped off.
Maybe that's why they don't go on the roof, because they don't want to actually get locked out again.
Well, how come they don't go back to Morgan's outpost? That was pretty well fortified with all kinds of booby traps.
Not for people, though. I mean, that was a bunch of sticks sticking out, like kind of put up like fences. I mean, you could drive over that with a car. True,
but apparently the folks over at Woodbury don't know about it, so it wouldn't have to be fortified against people, just against zombies.
I really think that a prison is probably one of the safest places they could be in the zombie apocalypse.
They are built to keep people in one way.
Yeah. If they can just fix that one, or fix the perimeter, that'd be easier than. But that's the only reason why I think they would want to stay. So my number one was all. Oh wait, did you do yours? Yeah, you did. So my number one was all these meetups too, which we already talked about. All the people from Woodbury meeting the people from the prison. I had a couple other notes. I thought the governor was acting kind of low key in this episode, which is it's fun to see him just sort of laugh everything off. But I'm ready for some raw anger from this guy. I want to see him act more like a villain and just lose his shit. So I'm like, I hope he does that, when they finally go to, I want to see him just show how crazy he really is.
Maybe they'll have hand-to-hand combat between him and Rick, and we'll see who really is badass. Wasn't he like a teacher or an insurance salesman or something?
He was just an office guy.
Yeah, all they've said is he's office guy.
He worked in an office, and his boss was dumber and younger.
So that's all I got.
I like it.
That's all you guys do?
Yep.
Got to say about it? All right. Let's move on to some news about The Walking Dead.
Is that the zombie Marvin Gaye?
I tried to bump it down so he would be like, "What's going on?" But it just sounded really horrible. Okay, so the news. First item. Do you know about that movie, Great and Powerful Oz?
Yeah.
It looks amazing. Apparently James Franco did do a very good job in it. Oh, really? So yeah, which is too bad. He seems kind of lackluster, but anyway, it looks beautiful.
It does indeed. And what does that have to do with?
What does that have to do with anything is that Greg Nicotero and his K&B Effects group worked on it with Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi directed.
I didn't know it was a Sam Raimi film.
Yeah.
Now my interest has increased.
Pete.
Damn.
And Nicotero said we had about 70 artists at K&B working on this project, having worked most recently with Sam in Drag Me to Hell, which came out in 2009, capping nearly an 18-year partnership. He'd commented to me how much fun it was after all these years to still be working together.
Oh, that's great. And those guys that work with Greg Nicotero, they are the coolest guys. I mean, we got to spend time in the trailer with them, and man,
yeah, it's like a family.
They're so great. They play great music, and they're just all friendly, and they have the best stories. I mean, if I could go back and relive one time in Georgia, it would be my time in the makeup trailer.
Totally. Me too. And I love talking to the guy. I got made up by the guy who did my favorite zombie, the RV zombie. I think I've already talked about this, but it was a blast. And every time I'd mention any movie, they either worked on it or they knew somebody who did.
They did Breaking Bad.
And and when I said one of my favorite movies was Fight Club, one of the guys is all, "Oh, I did The Bag of Fat." So he made a bag of fat for Fight Club. He said he studied real human fat for that, which was disgusting and totally cool.
Those guys are rock stars.
Okay, next, Cryptozoic Entertainment, the premier developer of original licensed games, and AMC expand their partnership with the announcement of the Walking Dead card game, created by award-winning game designer Wolfgang Kramer. The Walking Dead card game pits humans against zombies in a test of bravery and dominance. Based on the game 6 Nimmt, the Walking Dead card game is a quick 10 to 30 minute game for 2 to 10 players. Each player attempts to collect points by defeating as many zombies as possible. The player with the most points at the end of the game emerges victorious. That's supposed to come out May 30th. Will you play that with me?
Heck yeah, I'll play that with you.
You will?
Yeah, sure.
Drink beer.
Yeah, I was going to say we can drink beer.
Are you competitive?
Not at all.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
So you let me win?
Yeah, totally.
All right.
I'll make you feel good about yourself and let you in.
Thank you.
I'm here.
Next, Denai Guerrera talked to Access Hollywood about Michonne. She said that last Sunday's episode where her character bonded with Rick and Carl marked a turning point for Michonne. Quote, she can kind of now reach back to the chick she was before, who she had to shut down and become a warrior. It's a really powerful moment for her. She's combining that warrior chick and the heart and the empathetic place that she used to have before the apocalypse.
That liked pretty little kitty statues.
Yeah, that's how they signify that. And, well, I guess we will have already done the Deadcast Top 5 at this point, but I noticed something like that in this episode, a change in Michonne.
Ooh,
a little bit.
I'm looking forward to it.
So she also said that she knows she needs community. She's now thinking, I know these are the right people for me. So she's changed.
Was it her cute little top that she had on? Because I noticed that.
No, but I think she's gorgeous.
Gosh, my God, she is gorgeous. Ugh.
So next, Lauren Cohan had an interview on AMCTV.com. My favorite question, they asked, has the sex scene between you and Steven Yeun been the genesis for any jokes between you and Steven Yeun? She said, we're constantly joking about it. All of our fans are convinced we're an actual couple. When I went on a road trip with my dad, they're a couple, come on. When I went on a road trip with my dad, I was taking pictures of where I was and putting it on Twitter, and people were writing, Lauren, we all know that when you say dad, you really mean Steven. That's hilarious.
Oh, that's funny. In my head, there are a couple.
They are. I'm just going to say it. No. So next, Kirkman, in a Robert Kirkman interview at Hollywood Reporter, they ask, Andrea questions what she's doing in Woodbury and learns the governor assaulted Maggie. Why doesn't she take Herschel up on his offer to rejoin the group? Kirkman says it's a very difficult decision for her to make, but she's invested in the idea of Woodbury. Despite everything that the governor has done, she sees that this community has value and has good people. As much as she may want to save the lives of the people in the prison, it's equally important to her not to watch these poor people be marched into war for next to no reason. She's very invested in keeping these people safe. That's what's keeping her there. So that's pretty clear. I kind of thought that too. Everyone still, not everyone, but a lot of people still want to hate on Andrea. And I thought